that show week after week, like multiple people that watch the show, kept us so motivated throughout the years, and so that's what I hope this channel will do for you as well. Okay, you'll have to make an edit. Wow, did you guys hear that? That was so loud. Anyway, I might keep it in because, anyway, that was my stomach. Wow. Okay, so for 2000, well, one thing that kept me motivated year after year, no matter what was going on, was coming back to the show and just getting that dose. Just getting that dose of a reality check and motivation to continue. And again, I hope that this channel does that for you as well. So, for 2022, as I mentioned in the last episode, I wanted to talk through 4 ways in which you can wait out an economic downturn. So, bear markets, as you guys know, they happen every 5 or 6 or 7 years. And remember, what is a bear market? A bear market means that the stocks go down in value. And when they go down in value, we shouldn't panic and sell. We should continue to stay in the market. If you don't know that by now, by watching my channel, then you might have to go back and watch those episodes, right? But yeah, we want to continue to dollar cost average into the markets even in an economic downturn. But I came up with 4 ways in which you can kind of wait it out and make sure that you are in a position to leverage those buying opportunities. Just like if you go to the mall or if you shop online and there's a huge sale, you want to buy things obviously when they're on sale, right? So your money could buy a lot more things if you bought those on sale, right? Okay. So the 4 things I came up with is, number 1, expect downturns in the market. The reality is, as I just said, we're going to have down markets. So expect them. Just like I shared with you in the last episode, for 2022, I also expected the downturn. I didn't know when it would be. You know, in the media, they were always hyping and saying, you know, the downturn's going to come. We're going to go to a recession. And people were talking about recessions even long before 2022. So I was prepared for that to happen. Now, I got really lucky with my career, I will say. Not in the beginning. I had 11 years where I was living paycheck to paycheck, kind of bouncing around to different jobs and not really having much direction, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. But I had, of course, all of those years where I was just living paycheck to paycheck, but I lost my train of thought again. What was I going to? See what I mean? Even if you don't know a lot about money, you can still do well. I mean, look at me. I mean, I don't know everything, and I did really well. But anyway, things can happen. The stock market could go down. Oh, I was saying about my job. So my job, I got lucky. I was not as lucky in my first part of my career, but once I hit 32 years old, as you know, I found the career path in the company that I'm with today. And so things started to turn around, and I was able to leverage the fact that I was making more and more money and put money into the stock market. So I got lucky in terms of my company did really well during downtimes. Okay? Now, I did not plan that. It just happened. I just happened to land a job with a company. You know, sometimes you have to look at your life and go, wow, that happened for me. I did not plan it, but I will certainly take it as a wonderful thing that happened in my life, if that makes sense. So I never had to worry about, like even during 2008, during the I would have lost the leverage, maybe it would have taken me 2 years. People were taking like 2 years just to find another job that was paying them what they were making before. So you have to sometimes look at your life and say, you know what, I was at the right place at the right time, and that will happen for you guys too if it hasn't already. We've got multiple years to go into the future, and so if you position yourself for great things to happen, they will happen. So number 1 on 4 ways to wait out an economic downturn is to expect again that things will happen and markets will go down. Number 2, and it relates to what I just said, and that is your job or your business that you have. You have to make sure that you are the most valuable player on your team, like right now. So, obviously, 2024, when I'm recording this, is a good year in the stock market, and the economy's not doing too bad. Some of you may be struggling in terms of finding a job, etc. But I will say that, wow, that was my stomach again. That is so annoying. Most of you probably have a good job. You might be trying to find another job. But one thing that you'll want to do if you haven't done so already is make sure that you have the job and you can keep your job or find one every single year, that you're making a little bit more money. That's the secret. You don't have to make a lot of money. I never made more than about 5% every single year. If you're new to my channel, you may not have heard me say this before, but back when I was broke at 40, I was making about $40,000 per year. Here it is. Multiple years later, I'm 58 now, it's 18 years later, and I'm making just under $120,000 per year. That includes the bonus is in there as well, but that's my total income, approximately. So it took all of those years. I was never, I guess, lucky enough to be in a career path that I jumped from like 40 to 80 to 120, and that can happen to a lot of people. Didn't happen for me. For me, it was a slow, gradual increase of money every single year. But when there's an economic downturn, you really need to make sure that you are the most valuable player on your team. And why is that? The reason is because your employer may have to lay off people, and you don't want to be on that list where they're going to say that you and your job should be eliminated. They may take somebody else over you. And by the way, I don't know if I shared this before, but that happened to me in my career in 2003. So my company had what we called a reduction in force. 100 people were let go. And my manager came to me and said, Evan, you're in this department over here under the same umbrella, but we want to move you over here. It's in the training profession. I was like, okay, I can do that. I can go from internal training to external training, meaning with clients, which is why I started traveling. And they actually let somebody else go that already had the job. She was not performing up to what I guess they thought the standards were. And so they let her go. And I took her position. So, you know what, guys? You just never know what's going to happen. So you need to make sure that you, even in good times, and especially in good times right now, in 2024, as of the time I'm recording this, make sure that you are the most valuable team player in your company. Because what if in 2025 or 2026, if the market goes down, if the economy gets worse, maybe they're going to lay off 100 people like they did at my company, and you do not want to be on that list. So do everything in your power to make sure that you provide value to your company. Number 3, for 4 ways to wait out an economic downturn is to remember your long-term goals. And your long-term goals are to always do your personal best with your money. always looking and having an awareness to your income and your expenses. And what do you want to do with that? You always want to have a gap, and that's called a savings rate. So you've got income, expenses. There's got to be something in between, right? After fun and other, you want to shift all of those monies into asset generating items or income generating items, whether that be real estate if you're into that, or low cost index funds, like is what I have done over all of these years. So always remember your long-term goals, when times are good and when times are bad. And finally, the fourth thing that you can do to wait out an economic downturn is always get back to basics. I know it sounds cliche, but remember my Build a Budget episode where I talk about always looking at your money from your budget as the year is going on. That's so important. You can't ignore your budget. You can't write a budget and then forget about it, right? You have to cross-check, reverse engineer, look at the numbers, deduct the numbers from the cells on the spreadsheet. It nets to zero, and you want to make sure that you borrow money if you overspend in this category and replenish money if you didn't use the money over here, right? So it's a net result. It goes to zero. You've got money coming in, you've got money going out. And remember, the most important thing in your Build a Budget is to net to zero and make sure that you have line items for savings and investing, and you need to look at savings and investing as an expense. Does that make sense? I never thought of it that way, but you need to think of saving as an expense, and that expense is just as important as your rent, your mortgage, your electric bill, etc. Now, you guys know you might not have enough wiggle room in your budget to do that yet, but you will as you continue to do better with money, as you make more money, and as you keep your expenses as low as they can be. So with that, everybody, those are the 4 ways to wait out an economic downturn. You're going to expect bad things to happen with the market. You're going to leverage your single most largest wealth building tool, which is your job or your business.